Hello, everyone. Yes, the false smile. Not at all. Not at all. I'm usually like this, thinking, is it going to come on immediately, or not? Welcome to the recap of verb patterns. 3 or 4 different verb patterns appeared in our Monday session. Thank you very much to those of you who have sent in some work, something for us to work with to get our fingers, what do we say, get our hands or our fingers dirty with? Let's get our hands dirty, yes. Of course, it's not absolutely appropriate for this because it's all virtual, isn't it? It's all virtual, he said with a wry smile. A wry smile. Something where you smile because you know something is not as you would prefer. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go. Very good indeed. The contributions, very interesting, rich vocabulary, excellent structures. And let's see if my dirty fingers can manipulate this thing sufficiently well. Here is the first one. Can I get it all in? Yes. So pause the video if you like. Have a look at this one. And I'll get into it. All right. Now, thank you, yes, for putting the verb patterns in bold. That's great. I sometimes forget to do it myself, so it doesn't matter if you do it, then I don't need to remember. That's pretty useful these days. So bold verb patterns. Underlinings are all my own work. Underlinings are here. So anything that's underlined, not anything, but the majority of things that are underlined will appear later in the notes, at the end of the notes, in fact, with explanations and example sentences. Perhaps we'll look at them during the session, but if not, they will be there for you so that you can deepen your understanding of them. Highlights, you see, highlights are important. Now, we've got this number crunching to start with. Excellent use of that form, the need plus gerund form, which I suppose has a name. Call it what you want, but there it is. That's how to use it. Very well indeed. Now, let's get into some things that I have altered or modified. Here we go. In this part, oh, let me see. I hope you can see that. I'm not sharing it, am I? Ah, good, I am sharing it. That's a relief. I've included the word department. It's obvious, really. If you didn't want to put the word department in there, you could just get rid of this the. You could say accounts. Oh, accounts are always busy, meaning the accounts department. So 2 choices there, really. And then under the radar or under wraps. The key for me here, the reason why I have preferred under wraps to under the radar is here in what I've added in italics. Something can go under the radar or fly under the radar, meaning to be unnoticed or ignored. In this case, I believe that it has been kept secret, not that it has been revealed with hardly any audience at all, hardly any attention at all, but that it has been almost literally wrapped up and kept under wraps. To go under the radar or fly under the radar, though, is a common expression. It's a very good one in slightly different circumstances. So a very nice natural dialogue as well here. Based on experience, perhaps. It always helps. But it flows very well indeed. Very well indeed. The to and fro. The to and fro. The flow? The to and fro. Maybe this is an expression that I can give to you as well. The to and fro is like a tennis match. Something goes backwards and forwards, particularly a conversation. I'm adding that there on screen. The to and fro, that's how you spell it. It looks like I've spelt it wrong. But no, not on this occasion. So to and fro kind of replaces back and forth to indicate that there is this sort of movement of conversation, perhaps in a negotiation, a sporting event, something like that. Let me take it away, back to the text. We shall, where will we go? Okay. Some underlined here. Before you look at the notes, try to think, do I know exactly what that means? Think about it and then check later. Now, at the bottom, yes, it was me. Yeah, I was the one who underlined this. Yes. And this is because you've started very well indeed with need plus gerund, because at that time, you're still within that time that you're referring to. So yes, need plus gerund. Here, you're almost making a suggestion, aren't you? Almost making a suggestion that you're not actually, well, not you, but B, person B, is not actually referring to a time that they are in. It's not quite the same as the references here. So if B were to say, the range of duties in our department needs reconsidering, it would have a slightly different meaning. This is where we get into something which is so, well, not so advanced, but so sort of nuanced that if you like, of course, you can always use this form in this type of situation, and you won't go wrong. It's a bit like using going to for future plans, and then when you get really comfortable, you start using the present continuous for future arrangements. You can use going to be going to, sorry, for all of those plans, whether they're organised or not, if you want to, and you can have a good level of comfort. And the same with this, you can use the passive need to passive form at all times. You could say here at the top, if you're still not comfortable with this need plus gerund, you could say some numbers still need to be crunched, and that would be fine. Take another step, almost a half step or a very small step onto the next level of verb patterns. So very good. The difference is well used here. Well used indeed. Excellent stuff. All right, and as you've seen, highlighted differences. Well, why not? Let's have a look. That's very nice, isn't it? Get someone to do something. It's much softer. Perhaps it's a favor, something like that, in comparison to down here, make Stacy do it. Much stronger, much stronger. Okay, very nice indeed. Let's go on to number 2. Well, the second one, to arrive. Have a look at this one. And you'll see here some more underlinings, lovely expressions. See if you know what they mean precisely. Very good. If you're not sure, have a look. And if you don't have any idea, great. You're going to learn something extra. Okay. Perhaps I've been a bit picky here. Obviously, Fri is an abbreviation for Friday, but you never know, especially now. I don't know, with the younger generation, but perhaps they might think that it's okay to say Fry and Mun. I'm not there yet. Maybe it will be in the future, but I'm not there yet. So that's why I've put this in. There wasn't any lack of clarity here, but I put it in, and then I've done it the same with Monday. Okay. So great use of the need plus gerund here. It's it's a situation now. It's a very present situation. You're in. Well, he, George, is in this situation. So this is the absolute correct use, the best possible use of the verb pattern. Excellent stuff. Now, something which interested me for another reason. I used to be a big fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't watch it anymore. I don't really have a lot of time to watch things, but an excellent show, really excellent. Perhaps it's difficult to understand the references. Why am I saying this? Well, it's because he, the Larry David character, said that he was going to go golfing in one of the shows a long time ago. I thought, go golfing? Do you really say that? My God! And apparently, you can say go golfing, as I've put here. It still seems to me that you cannot say go playing. I know we go swimming, we go cycling, we go running, etc. You know, if you want to do it, then put go golfing. I will stick with the standard. I've stuck with the standard here of going to play. I'm going to do something. However, I have found myself saying it like this. I'm going to go and do the laundry, for example. I'm going to go and tidy the garden, whatever. Perhaps it's frequently used enough that it is standard now, but I put it in the colloquial category. But I mean, honestly, I say this, and I'm speaking to a native speaker. I don't have any qualms. I don't have any hesitation about saying this. Here's an expression for you: to not have any qualms about doing something. I'm going to put this one in here. Oh, it's a touch. It's almost as slow as I am, this one. There we go. So what I'm saying here is I don't have any qualms about using go and plus infinitive. It may not be the standard. For me, feel free to do this. Maybe not when you're writing, but even so, I feel that it's acceptable. Okay. Sorry, I've gone over there. I want to remove that so everything is clear as possible. Some small omissions. You've got the double subject here. Make time for one of the activities. So we've got a double subject. Got on. Get on exists, but it's not quite the right one for here. Our lives. Get busy. We can get on. Do you get on with your brother? Do you get on with your boss? And it can have other meanings as well, but just got is fine here. Okay. Here's an indication of what I mentioned before when talking about the first of the texts. Needed to be processed? Yeah, absolutely. It's really okay. And if you want to take another step, we can see your George, is in this situation. So we could put processing in here. Needed processing. Feel free to use either. Because, I mean, it's still pretty to say to be able to use that type of verb form, need to plus passive. It's no small thing. No mean feat, we say. No mean feat. No small thing. Looking down here, anything else to comment on that doesn't seem like, yes, I knew that, but my mistake. Anything that seems a little, no, okay. Don't think so. So the last thing then, again, very colloquially, and quite commonly, I mean, TV series, whatever, you'll see this. I don't want to do that no more. We're not going to do that no more. Yes, very, very colloquially, people say that. People can judge you. It's the truth. People can judge you. Some people who feel superior can judge other people if they say no more. It's one of those things that it grates a little bit with some native speakers. On the other hand, I don't have a problem with it in speech. I wouldn't criticize someone if they were talking. I wouldn't correct them if we were just having a conversation, saying, hey, no. If you're preparing for an exam or whatever, yes. The reason for this is, when I saw this, the first thing I thought of is the song Maggie's Farm by Bob Dylan, the first partially electric album that Dylan made. The song Maggie's Farm, Dylan sings, very colloquially, I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Wow. Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. You know, there are many examples actually in Dylan's work that he uses the language, the vernacular language. I think that's one of the reasons why he is. I was going to say still, but I don't know, because I don't know. He hasn't released a record for a year or so, so I don't know at this moment. But why he is a master of language. So I've corrected that to any, and that is the standard and correct. We tend to use any, don't we, or a form of any with negatives. Okay, very good. Again, the underlined ones will appear at the end of the session. All right. Here we are with some more verb patterns in bold. Let's take a look at some of the details. All right, because I think because it's a conversation, there are a few little colloquial things in here. Very nice to highlight that. Look at this. You called the police, right? And when I say colloquial, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I mean a natural, conversational way. Perhaps I should say conversational would be better. I wonder if any of you are thinking, what would I replace that with? Is there anything I could replace that with if I wanted to be a bit more standard, perhaps? Well, if you're thinking of tag questions, then well done. You called the police, didn't you? It's equally good here. I'm not going to correct right at all because it really fits in well with the atmosphere of the text, of the conversation. But anyone who's thinking, "Oh, I love tag questions," you wouldn't be wrong to use a tag question here. You called the police, didn't you? Okay, good stuff. Now, just we needed, because we didn't have the object, we need an object form. I'm having lost it. Again, in the USA, I'm sure they use past simple more than British people do, so I haven't corrected it. I've popped in had been, just as a reminder that I like the past perfect tense. I make no secret of that. A question. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure how to correct this. Initially, I wanted to correct it, taking this as a form of deduction, like speculation, but when you feel absolutely certain about something. But I just didn't quite fit in with the rest of the sentence, that someone had written it for just a short time. I can't be sure. I feel that I can't be sure of that. Someone must have stolen it. Yeah, I feel sure about that, and ridden it just for a short time. So I don't know what the best correction is, because should, it sounds like a piece of advice, like that this was a good idea. So again, should is not the best choice here. In the end, I'm going to go for could. because, well, it sounds like should, but when you're not sure, so as I'm not sure, I'm going to put could in here as the correction. Someone could have stolen it and ridden it for just a short time. Perhaps the distance between the city library and the bridge is a relatively short distance. That's my best bet for this one. You've used those verb patterns extremely well here. It needs repairing. I haven't had it checked yet. Due to the collocations, a large number is what we say, a large number. So we don't use big with that. I suppose big refers to dimensions or size, really, rather than something like this, which could be considered a quantity or amount. But we, anyway, we collocate, we say a large number. And because you have used, up here, you've used right, nice and colloquial, then I have not corrected, but I have underlined, here we are, wanna. But I want to. I mean, this has been going around for a long, long time, but still, it surprises many people. That, often students say to me, I was watching a series, these people were saying, wanna, I wanna. What on earth does it mean? Why do they say this? Again, conversationally, hurriedly as well, wanna, gonna, instead of going to. So in case you're not familiar with this, going to can be expressed like this. You find it particularly in music, of course. And I'll give you one, perhaps you're not familiar with this one. Apologies if you are. Tryna. I'm trying to. I mean, I'm laughing because for me, for someone like me to say it sounds a little bit silly. But for the right group of people saying it, absolutely, it's the way a certain group of people, or many groups of people, I should say, speak. And I don't have a problem with it. Don't write it down, though, if you're doing anything official or important to other people. Messages, fantastic. And just on that note, here's one which you might enjoy. I know it looks like Imma. It looks like the name of my wife's hairdresser, Imma. I'm enjoying this. This is where the original has been shortened so much. This is, I don't recommend this at all, but just so you're aware of it, I'm a go shopping. I'm a buy that car. You hear it in music lyrics and some series as well. And I suppose that's the way that language is going. It's not going to stay the same forever. And why should it? So a nice little interlude. I hope you enjoyed that. Very good indeed. Okay, let's go on, checking the time. Terrific. To the fourth one. We prepare. You can. Let's have a look. Sorry. Have a look at this. You can prepare to do something. That's fine. Prepare to plus infinitive. But you've got here I was going to say substantive. I often fall into that habit. A noun, the exam. So you prepare for something. And a nice adjective here, upcoming. Upcoming. All right, great stuff. All the chores. Well, not all of the chores, far from all of the chores, but many of the chores here. Very well expressed indeed, very well expressed indeed. So again, the underlinings are highlights. They'll appear at the end of the notes. Okay. Your other half. Your other half, yes. Perhaps it sounds a bit strange. My other half, it sounds like I have two halves plus me. Am I? And that, you know, it doesn't add up. when we say something doesn't make sense. I mean, literally in this case, it doesn't add up, my other half, but that's what we say. The half that I have is me, and the other half is my partner, my romantic partner. So we need the word other. And this is very nice. And then I think you've really taken it another half step further. It's absolutely, whatever it is insisting that it needs doing. It bang, bang, bang. It's almost alarming. It's so obvious that it needs doing. It was begging to be walked. Sometimes in football, they have an open goal. They have the ball and it was begging to be scored. A goal was begging to be scored. How did he miss that open goal? So obvious. So yeah, very nice expression indeed. Here, I've given you two, correcting and some more, to, amongst other things, is the standard, of course. Then there's another expression which came to mind. If you're thinking of a long list of things, and that was just for starters, is what we would say. This is just the beginning of the list. Okay. I've corrected this one. I wonder if anybody is thinking what I was thinking when I read this sentence. Initially, with the sentence, it turned out that her boyfriend suddenly had his hands full. On reading this, my impression was that the female character had gone to the boyfriend to say, da 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 da, you've got this list of things to do. And the boyfriend had replied, oh, sorry, I've suddenly remembered that I have to, I don't know, go to a meeting, or I have to visit my grandfather, or I had the impression that he was saying that he was busy. Then I realized, no, he wasn't saying that at all. His situation was that he was not busy, and because of the chores that had been allocated to him, he suddenly had his hands full. That's why I've corrected this one. Perhaps it's just me, but for absolute clarity, I've chosen to put in this form here, and so it was. And as a consequence of that, her boyfriend suddenly had his hands full. Another preposition change. You can use be sure to in other situations. Yes, I can say, oh, be sure to close the door. No, be sure to lock the door when you leave. Okay, don't leave it open. Remember to. So it would be okay in other situations. Here, what's her name? Laura was sure of, or sure about something, but she was sure of having. So we'll need the gerund form, sure of plus gerund. Sure of having all the chores completed, yes. Other small, fiddly. We talk about the things which are very small. You just got fiddly corrections. They're important, of course. If you're aiming for, obviously, for fluency and to be the best you can at English, the little corrections in there. And then something I haven't seen, wow, for a long time, I have to say, viz. Typically we'd say namely, or that is to say, I mean, etc. And other, what are they called now? Discourse markers. Other discourse markers. But it's okay. It's pretty uncommon to see this. But I've left it in because, it looks nice. You won't see it very often, but it can be used. As I say, namely is a bit more, is much more, in fact, much more common. The last part here then, The familiar plumber. Familiar in the sense that, oh, this is familiar. I think I've seen this before, or I've seen something like this before somewhere else. Two things I was thinking. Perhaps, I mean, where I live, familiar, pronounced in a different way, has another meaning. It means to do with the family. So you can have a family doctor. It's not easy these days, but yeah, you can have a family doctor. So perhaps on this occasion you're referring to a family plumber. It's the plumber that always comes to attend to your family's needs. So I'm not sure. That could be what you meant. Just in case it wasn't. Oh, well, I don't want to put it in capitals. Not necessary, I think. I guess the regular plumber, the plumber that comes regularly, the plumber that you call regularly. Perhaps that's what you meant here. But familiar is not an adjective in English that refers to family. Something to do with the family. Okay. There is one other contribution. Sorry, I've just seen someone has joined me. Hello to you. I'm not going to invite you in because this is pre-recorded. Two people there, my God. Let me get myself off the screen. Yes. No, it's not. I have to do it like this. I'll explain. I have to do it like this, as if it were live. Because then I could get comments onto the screen as well from the from the comments from the chat. So that's why. So well, hello. Please don't try to join me if you want to participate. I won't let you in. Fabrice, nice to see you, and Manuel as well, of course. What was I saying? Yes, I've been a bit busy today, and I'm going to be a bit busy for the rest of the day. So one of the submissions is not part of this session, but a little bit later I will correct that. Okay, I'll correct that and send that and post that with the corrections. So please don't feel ignored if you've sent a contribution and I haven't dealt with it today. Great. Monday, yes. Oh, told you I was busy. I'll be back on Monday, everyone, with a session. I'm not sure exactly how to frame it, but I'll give you a hint. It's going to be based on something which happened just over 30 years ago. So have a think about that. Just over 30 years ago. Very few days over that. Monday, 6:30 CEST. Thanks again for your contributions. I hope this has been an informative, beneficial. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll be back on the 15th. Take care.